Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite dark sorcerer here. And today I'd like to do a reflection reading, you know, kind of in reflection of last night's opening ritual, for the Witch's Sabbath. It goes from the 26th of October to the 6th of November. So there was a lot of things that went down last night during ritual. I recorded two different videos. Me personally, I mean, I can't speak for what you guys did, but I had two cameras going and I was recording both on both of them, and there was a lot of activity. So much so that it was like a presence was there wanting to speak for, to speak and come forth, but didn't fully manifest. Like the veil was still a little bit tight, if you know what I mean. Because the thing you got to understand is the Day of the Dead, All Saints Day, All Hallows Eve, the veil is at its thinnest here. But at the beginning, it's you're going from that thickness to that lightness, you know what I'm saying? So you really want to keep up on it and continue doing things. Sounds to me like you're being tested, Kelly. Now would be a perfect time to get into ritual. Sometimes when your energy is low, you're being tested. So I'd recommend pushing forth, seeing what you're made of. Test your mantle, if you will. So, anyways, I thought, why not do a reading? I've got some time to kill before my son's dentist appointment this morning, so I figured, let's do some reflecting and kind of see what's going on, what we can do, and how we can do better tonight, during ritual with the spirits, with those who lost their lives, lost the battle, so to speak, in the past. Those who gave up everything, all the mages, sages, Bruo, and necromancers and such, worldwide, through the witch trials, the burning times, you know, the Renaissance, holy wars, you name it. It's been over 1,000 years of bloodshed where witches and warlocks have lost their lives in one form or another. And we still see this even today through Facebook and through these so-called, communities where you have those who are only interested in games and attacking and false accusations and you name it. So we're still seeing the same propaganda today, just in a whole new ball, a whole new ball of light, so to speak. So last night I was thinking about this, and after the fact, I even went out and went for a walk. Was sitting on the front, steps out front, and I didn't feel like watching, YouTube or anything. It was just I wanted to be underneath the cloak of night. I wanted to be out there in the nighttime, and it was just something about it that caught my attention, that it felt right and needed. And so it was something I did. I can't, like I said, I can't speak for you guys. It was just something that felt right for me. So, and I was in contemplation just about all night. So this morning, I got up a little bit ago. It was just I'm at peace, inside. I'm loving it. So, but I'm still contemplating on last night's experience. So I wanted to, like I said, do this and kind of see what we can do here to better the experiences. All right. So we've got the seven of skulls, the eight of grails, and the eight of skulls. Wow. So we got two skulls here, meaning emotions, meaning spiritual connection, that harmony, but also the grail, which is the life force. This is a very interesting reading. So the eight of grails, or in this case, the seven of grails, I should say. Yeah, beautiful cards by Ian Daniels. I love this deck because it has everything in one. But that's what it looks like right there. Okay, take a good look. Like I said, that's a seven of skulls. Okay. Interesting. The circle with the crescent moon on top. You guys know what that is. You got Saturn in the background in the tree. The rocks that look like skulls. Very interesting. So I want to point this out to you. Right, right there, where my finger is. Let's see if I can't get it into focus here. Right there, Saturn. But if you come down here, right above that skull, you'll see what I see. Right there. Okay. Now I know it's a little hard for you to see it, but that's an interesting omen. Seeing Mercury with Saturn. The Eight of Grails. Again, if you look at the bowl on the Eight of Grails, you'll see Saturn right between the hands. The conjunction of the circle and the chains. Oh, and right here, right in between the jacket, you have the Gemini. Very, very interesting. And then the Eight of Skulls. Ooh, Mercury again, right on the skull. Let me bring this up. Oh no. Right there on the skull. Let's see if I can't. There you go. I think that's the best you're going to get on that one. You know what I'm saying? So, the wind, the electricity coming from the hand, that's the light aspect. So, that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's definitely something trying to come through that wants to commune. And I think we're actually on, just by this reading alone, just by these three cards, the seven of skulls, the eight of grails, and the eight of skulls. Okay, so you got the seven and eight of skulls along with the eight of grails. So basically, it's a level of concernment, but it's also the level of contentment. You are at peace, and you are kind of a low energy. It's almost like cross between a restlessness and disease state of slumber, if you wish. You probably notice that you are a little bit restless, like you got that energy moving through, say, one of your limbs or even both limbs, while you're trying to rest. If you think about it that way, think of it from the best way I can tell you is restless leg syndrome. Okay. When we think of restless leg syndrome, you don't have a say in what goes on when you are sleeping. You tend to jerk uncontrollably in your sleep with your legs. You got that energy going through your knees it just basically means you haven't grounded yourself fully. You haven't put into play the energy direction. Okay, the banishing, the proper banishings of everything. You're not following the normal protocols, if you will. When you're on the job, you have when dealing with chemicals, or you're dealing with, say, hemomancy. Like say if you work in a hospital. Like I just, this morning I was going through the news on my phone and saw that two local hospitals are being sued over a wrongful death. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. You don't have that kind of control over what other people do, so don't worry about what others are doing. You want to pay more attention about what you're doing, okay? Because this time of year is more about you. It's more about your connection to your ancestors, to those who came before, and to the deities, demons, and spirits that you work with. So, and the conjunction comes into play because of the fact that you're torn between both. Okay. On one hand, you're chained to the spiritual realm, on the other, to the physical. I've talked about the spiritual law versus the physical law before. Don't worry about that stuff. This is just minor detail. Okay. Think of it like adding a little too much water to your oatmeal. Okay. It's just going to come out soupy, right? So instead of fretting about it, go in, add a little bit more oatmeal, stir it up, heat it up. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way I can put this to you when it comes to the conjunction. But overall, when you get into your rituals and your rites, you need to let go of the worldly so that you may pay homage to the spiritual. In this case, this is the Day of the Dead. Okay, this is the time of the year where we honor our ancestors. It is our time to worship all and remember all those that came before, those who gave up their life in service to the spirits. People like John Ramses. He was a high priest in Satanism. He died earlier this year. And then also earlier this year, we also lost John Saunders, great patriarchs within Satanism, theistic Satanism. They fought for Satanism in two different ways. But you got to remember that honoring them is a true way to better yourself in your practices and secure your connection to the spiritual nexus. But at the same time, you've also got the eight of skulls, which indicates a little too much aggression, a little too much force. So a little too much power, if you will. If you put a car battery and you hook that up to one of those motorized matchbox cars, you're literally going to blow that thing right up. Okay, there's just too much horsepower. So And I'm trying to put this into terminology that you'll be able to understand. So, especially you, those of you who are new into the craft, you've got time. In the Eight of Skulls, you have the time. The sand. The sand time glass, the hourglass. You only have a short time, a short window between the 26th and the 6th of November. Okay, the 26th of October and the 6th of November to give these honorings. In Latin America, they would go to the grave and they would give plates of food to give honor and respect to their loved ones because the loved ones would come through the grail, through the veil, because it's so thin that they're able to come back to the day, into the living for a short time. And this is All Hallows Eve, by the way, the Day of the Dead, All Saints Day. And it's interesting to see just what they're capable of doing. So what they would do is like the Wiccans and pagans, and they would give cakes, they would give wine, they would give bowls of fruit, and just set it on the grave. They would do this whole siesta of rituals and rites, parades, and it's all about giving back to those who came before. And like I said, remembrance. Saturn is the dark planet. So you'll see that throughout the year, so that's nothing new. However, we are going into the darkest time of the year. So All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, Day of the Dead, it's all paving way for Yule. Okay? So you just gotta let go of everything that you're going through right now. Okay? Go into your ritual room, do your basic banishing, do some grounding, some meditation, and reconnect to not only your ritual room and to the currents of those that you serve, but also ground yourself to the earth. The black sun is the alchemy. Okay, keep that in mind. The Gemini is the twins. We are all connected. Okay, through the deities. If you haven't learned that by now, you probably never will. But some people learn slower, others learn faster. Like I said before, it's not a race, it's a marathon. Take your time, save your strength. Okay? Now, what's interesting here, like I said, is that you've also got Mercury. This is not uncommon, especially right up front. It's more of it's more or less of you going through a trial. Think of it as a test, but at the same time, it's something that you have to overcome. You've got to be the one to rise above those zero G's, the negative energies. It's up to you to go forth and do the work yourself. As I just told Kelly Jocelyn here, okay? Consider it a test. When you're trying to do ritual, but you're unmotivated, that's Mercury retrograde. That is the Mercury aspect, the planet Mercury, the iron. It's weighing you down for a purpose. You have to be the one to rise above it. Okay. Normally, when you are weighed down, unmotivated, you know, lethargic, even, the feeling of lethargic, this is normally the time where you would see it more as, it's not really a big deal, but guess what? I gotta do it. So it's a test to see if you are willing to rise to the occasion. But it's also a sign that you're on the right path and that it needs to be done. So move forward. Continue moving forward. Don't fret about the energies. Just learn how to ground yourself. I tell my apprentices the right hand is the one that you can take energy, but you can also give it back. The left hand, when you take energy, it's more selfish. It's more self-serving. Okay. So when you do that, I would recommend both hands to you and just put your palms to the floor. Okay. If you're out in nature, go for a walk in the park, you know, find a good location. Unless you're in the bush, then watch out for poisonous animals. You really don't want the bush hunter coming out of nowhere on you. So, but what you want to do is you want your hands down, okay? The palms facing down, and just focus the energy moving through you, okay? Think of it as I would recommend the left hand to you because of the fact that you need to ground yourself. The left hand is probably the best one. Have you ever just looked at your altar when you are doing some form of ritual? And let's say, for example, you're doing a baneful ritual, a hex, a curse, a jinx, or whatever. And you reach out with your left hand, like so, and you're focusing so much on your anger, your rage, that hate, and your intent towards that individual. What's going on here? You're feeling all that rage rising up, all that feeling, all that energy, and it's moving down your arm and out through your hand. Okay, and trust me, when you do this, you're going to be watching the candles in the background just go nuts. You know, I don't have any airflow in my inner sanctum. There's no oxygen in there. It's a deprivation chamber for a reason. Okay, there's no oxygen. There's no airflow. You are whatever you have in there is what you got. It gets so hot that you're able to see visions. You're able to manipulate the energies. Think of it as a going to a smoke lodge through Native American practices. They put these hot coals in there. It can get up to about 140 degrees to 170, raising up your body temperature. And trust me, you feel that heat rising in this powwow tent, in this tent. Okay, it rises. And if you're not used to it, you will pass out, you will try to freak out, and that's where damage comes into play. Okay, because I gotta get out, I gotta get out, and you panic. In ritual, you cannot do this. That is why we as practitioners practice control. This is why we practice focus, discipline through our commitment to the spirits, okay? To those that we serve, those who are willing to help and guide us through everyday life. The Seven of Skulls, the Eight of Grails, and the Eight of Skulls, okay? These three cards are indicators that there's a blockage. There is something that is prohibiting you from connecting. You need to deal with that. Most likely a banishing, most likely a grounding. You may need to ground beforehand. I recommend before you begin any ritual, meditate in your sanctuary, in complete darkness. Focus your mind. Feel what's around you before you light those candles, before you light the incense. Okay? Ground yourself. Come into harmony with that room, the resonance. All before you do this. Follow the protocols that your faith, your religion, how you were taught. If it is to wash your hands before you enter, you know, you take alcohol, you swirl it around in your mouth and spit it out into a specially designed bowl for that to cleanse your mouth so that you speak truth, or even if it is to meditate and chant or do mantra, find that balance, find that connection, you know, utilize the energies and the currents around you because that is something that is really needed. And this actually explains a lot from last night, especially in my view, because of the fact that I felt a little reserved. Okay, a little too much reserved. There was something that didn't feel right during the ritual, through the opening of the gates, calling on the quarters, calling on the spirits that I work with. There was something that was just hindering. It just felt off. And now I understand why, just by these three cards. So tonight, I'll be able to correct this. Very, very easy. Okay. I'll ground myself, cleanse myself with a salt bath, utilizing sea salt, place a candle, some incense, soak, submerge myself in ritual bath, and just kind of reset the currents here. Help myself come back into balance. I recommend that you do the same in that capacity because of the fact that when you're slightly out of residence, that could be the result of either success or failure. Okay. So really take the time to observe your surroundings, what's going on. I'm talking feelings, I'm talking the presence, I'm talking physical stuff, anything that is hindering you. Lack of energy, lack of motivation, you know, maybe something feeling like there's an anchor there, kind of holding you back. This is stuff that you got to pay attention to. So I would highly recommend cleansing, realigning yourself, and then proceeding again tonight and see what can transpire even better tonight when you go to commune with the spirits and continue welcoming them in, giving offerings of various different types. So I'm not going to discuss what I'm doing because this is something that's between me and those that I worship, that I pray to, that I work with, but also to those of my own family lineage and to the spirits outside of this. Okay, past and present. Okay, these are things that I'm not going to discuss with you, but for you, you need to look at your own life. You need to look at your own practices and deal accordingly. Okay. So this is something that was definitely needed. It was a reflection that was really needed to be done. And just out of curiosity, I'm wondering what the next card would have been. Ah, the planetary spirit of Saturn. The planetary spirit. You'll notice it right here. Okay. And this is the five of scepters, the spiritual matters. So in this case, you're dealing with Saturn and the spirit of Saturn. If you look at the two pillars, on one pillar right here, over here you have Saturn. Over here you have the spirit. Okay, let me see if I can bring it in closer to you. Right about there. There's the spirit, and there's the symbol for Saturn, the planetary symbol. So yeah, there's that. You got the black cat, which is a resemblance. In this case, it's a panther, a black panther. Cats are the guardians to the underworld, and like I said, this is the time of the year where we give honor to the dead, to those who have fallen, those who have perished, like John Ramses and John Saunders. Um, so This tells me we're definitely on the right track here. So there's definitely that hindrance, there's that guardian, and it is that trial. In Egyptian mythology, cats are the guardians of the underworld. Okay? So, yeah, definitely. So I just pulled another card and it's the 8 of scepters. Notice what's on his belt. Right there. That tells me everything I need to know. It is a time where we need to fight. It is time to take action. And that tells me everything, like I said, that we need to know. So you are welcome, Kelly. Um, hey, Pharaoh Stiller X. Go right ahead. You, like I said, you started. This started last night, and it goes until the 6th. So you've got. If you are a necromancer, it would be a good time to stay away from of meats. I would recommend only if you do eat things of the ground, like fruits, vegetables, things grown of the earth. Stay away from all kinds of meats. It's a purifying agent. Drink lots of fluids. I would recommend bread, unleavened bread with honey, things that will sustain the body. It comes down to if you are following the Black Fast from the 11th century, the Daniel's Fast of the 17th, 18th, and 19th century, biblical aspects. The Catholics actually had an extreme version of the Black Fast that goes as far back as the 11th century. Today, they're more. I'm just going to come out and say it the way it is, so this may offend you. So I do apologize in advance, but it's pussifying of the fasting process. Basically, it's a cheat, if you will. And what they do in today's JCI practices is they will, when they go to restaurants, they will eat salads, they will eat fruits and vegetables, and it is a cheap way of fasting. Okay, personally, as a necromancer, a practicing necromancer, um, when I decide to do one of these things, I withhold eating in general for those days. Okay, it gives time for whatever's in the body that needs to be flushed away to do so. You just get rid of it, and it's a show of devout worship. It is being a servant of the spirits, and most importantly, it shows your commitment and dedication to your craft. So keep that in mind. All right. You are welcome, Pharaoh. So, I mean, this is what I would recommend to you. Normally, I would have started about a few days before, but like I said, it just started yesterday, and I did do videos kind of reminding people that this was coming up, and it was up to you to start to prepare for it. I've already started, been preparing for it, and as of last night, it's in effect until the 6th. So, well, I should say until the 7th, I should say, for me, but because this is something that's personal between me and the spirits that I worship and that I want to remember. Okay. So, like I said, it comes down to you and you alone. What you wanted to do, what you got to do, go ahead and do it. For you, Pharaoh, if you haven't done any of this stuff, I would recommend hemomancy to you. Okay. An offering of blood, your blood, is a great sacrifice, and it kind of will jumpstart the practice for you. But it's also a personal sacrifice, and it is a personal offering to the spirit. But like I said, that is up to you to do if you wish. If not, no biggie. Do what you do. Be you. Don't be me. Just be you. All right, that's all I got to say. All right, so I've given this reading for you because I believe it will help you as much as it did me. So thank you for jumping on here with me, Kelly and Farrell, and I hope this has helped you guys out a lot. And for those of you coming onto the channel and into the video late, I hope it's helped you as well. And you're probably noticing that I'm shuffling again. This is to clear the reading that I just did from the cards. So when I learned when I learned cartomancy by a very powerful witch, it was she was the mother of a g- woman I used to hang out with. Basically, she was it was more being used at the time, but there was a reason behind it. It was a lesson that needed to be learned, and I ended up learning from her mother. So she taught me all about this stuff. It was a very awesome thing. So I do remember her, though she is alive. Last time I knew, they were about 45 minutes away. She was running a store 45 minutes away, but she's one of those types. She's a traveler. She's a member of the clans, so she tends to, gypsies. But in this case, it's more Native American. So she and her family tends to move around a lot. So last time I knew, her daughter was actually in jail. So, but I have no idea. I haven't been in contact with them in years. So, but I want to also give recognition to her mother. To my teacher in this case. So she taught me all about these things, and I'm grateful. So, with that said, I'm gonna like so. So, is there any questions about the reading? I've got roughly 10 minutes to spare, and my leg is falling asleep. Oh, so I'm going to stretch out here while I'm waiting. Uh, all right, I don't see any lines. So, all right, have a good day, and hope you find that balance and rid yourself of that blockage so that you can commune with the spirits. And like I said, do you and do you alone. You know what I'm saying? So, have a good one.